Ladies and gentlemen, ATDF everything in that shelf presentation. You're now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben
on Spoiled Rotten.
on that shelf.
Boom. Is that how that goes?
That's how that goes. We
Wow.
did it.
Yeah, wow. All right. Well, it's not even, I can't even say it's been a while. Like, I literally did this a week ago.
But I'm assuming like a week in like dad world is like a month in time. It just, you fit like that much in.
A lot
is
has
what I
happened
mean.
since we last recorded.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
true. Yeah. So we are here to do we're finishing up these tier lists. Well, not forever. We're going to do more tier lists, but we're finishing up the MCU DCEU ones by doing the heroes list now.
Yes,
I
we
don't
are.
remember what we take into account. I feel like it's like the look, the casting, and the overall arc, but I'm pretty sure there's something else, and I don't remember what it is.
I just like to summarize it as in the vibe.
Yes, it will be the vibe. I
it's
understand.
a vibe check. It really
It's
is.
been like that for the last two times we've done it, because the first time we had very clear things, and then I feel like much better for us, it just became a vibe check.
Yeah, totally. And that's
Sorry
fine.
if it upsets you and feels hypocritical, but yeah, it's probably just going to be a vibe. I'll try my best to think about those other things, but chances are I won't.
There are certain elements that bring that I've at least factored into this to be like, okay, it's if vibe check alone, this casting passes. However, it's what the people, the directors, and all that kind of stuff make this character do that's just like, oh man, I really am putting it higher than I think. Like it's my love of that casting and where it could have gone that, increases the vibe check quite a bit.
The good thing is there's two of us, so hopefully we can keep each other in check. And as
you definitely keep me in check, so I have no problem with that.
As I feared, we definitely forgot the heroes from Black Adam on this list, so I'll be trying to do that in real time.
Yeah. The Black situation.
Really forgot about that. I really thought we had everything. All right, well, just something to remember before we get to Blue Beetle. All right, let's get it started. Superman.
First one.
Clark, is that his name?
Clark Kent?
Is it Kent?
Yes.
Clark Kent? Wow. I really like this character.
No, it's Clark. It's Clark Cavill. That's what it is.
Right.
That's
Henry
Clark
Cavill as Superman.
Yep.
I feel like we both like the potential of this.
Yes.
I don't think anything that went wrong is his fault.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it seems like he was pushing for what I assume everyone wanted, but he had Zack Snyder weighing him down. So
yeah.
There's that.
That's what I mean by vibe check. Like vibe check for Henry Cavill as Clark Kent Superman is a good thing. I'm like, yeah, that's some great casting. It really, really is.
Yeah.
However, it's just what is the material he's given to work with? It sucks. So I'm just like,
so I don't think Man of Steel sucks, but I do think
you're
overall
right. We praise Man of Steel quite a bit.
And
we do.
I would say his what he does in the post credits of Justice League Joss Whedon style is pretty good as well.
Yes, because he's actually having fun in that, right? Versus everything else, Snyder's like, no, Superman is a smile. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's a bit too caught up on what if this god had to think about puny humans for it to be great. I would say A level.
That's where I have him at.
Yeah, I think he's really good. And it seems like he had the right idea, but forces worked against him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, the guy was jacked, like just peak physical condition. Like I, in terms of Hollywood actors, the only other one I think of that is that level is like Daniel Craig when he's in like the Bond films and all that kind of stuff. But like Hayden, he committed to it. He looks the part. He knows his lore. Like he is a great Superman, just not with the material that he's given to work with. So that
Yeah,
really
because
sucks.
even in Man of Steel, I agree. I agree. Even in Man of Steel, I think there's moments when, like, when Lois is like, "Why are you even letting them put chains on you?" And he's like, "If it makes them feel better, then great."
Yeah.
I think stuff like that is the Superman stuff that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he has it there. You've seen him be able to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not just him having fun. Like, you see that it's there and
Mm-hmm.
that he can access that when given the right opportunity. But
Yes.
yeah, they hijacked his second movie and never really got back to focusing on him as a character.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that like one of the things I like most is when he destroys that like that surveillance equipment that the US military is using like after that and Henry Cavill goes like he just goes like, "Hey, this is about trust. This is a relationship. Like you're never going to be able to control me. So stop doing that. This is about trust kind of deal."
Mm-hmm.
And this is, that is the kind of stuff that I'm like I really like out of this Clark. I really really like out of this Superman. But it's just, oh God, I would love for him to like just him and Lois Lane to have fun on a date. To be like, yeah, I'm gonna fly you around the world for a date or something. Like that would be fun to me. I'm like, cool, let's see him shine like that. But it's the Snyder effect of like, no one can be happy in my movies.
Yeah.
It's,
um, Speaking of, Lois Lane is played by Amy Adams.
yeah. I'm less
I
high on this.
Well, I think her issue is she's never a main character. So
Yeah.
it, once you get into Justice League, you're kind of like, yikes. But
With It's brutal too, because I feel like everything she does has a lot of main character, main story implications
I
on
think
the
her
actual
performance
plot.
does, which is why I
Yes.
like her. I don't
Mhm.
think the material is. I think her performance and how she owns it that's part of what I like. Is that she's owning it as if she's the main character, but the
Yeah.
material clearly is not interested in her as a main character.
Yeah, it's very like it's very convenient. It's like, hey, you just don't happen to be here, do this, do. I'm like, just that's lazy writing as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, do I like Amy Adams? Yes. Do I like her as Lois Lane? A little bit less.
I mean, it's hard because I think she's like the third best Lois Lane we've seen. Like
Yeah,
comparing her to the show and then Margot Kidder.
yeah.
Um, I don't think we've. Oh well, we've seen the other. We saw Superman Returns,
Mhm.
or did we even watch Superman Returns? I don't remember. But she's better than that Kate Bosworth one, I guess. Yeah, I. This goes into the story arc. I like that right away. She just knows Superman and then understands that Clark Kent is a. Um,
Avatar or like
yeah, whatever. What am I trying to say here?
identity, secret identity, or
This is
whatever
a
it is.
secret identity. They don't have that. I think that elevates. I'm not saying past Margot Kidder, but it's something she has against Margot Kidder in the sense that you watch those first two movies, and especially the second movie is a lot of Margot Kidder trying to like kill herself to get Superman to admit that he's Superman,
Mhm.
whereas you can bypass all of that with Amy Adams' version and
Mhm.
just be like, I know who you are. I did the journalistic research to get to the point where I was like,
Mhm.
you can say Clark Kent is a construct from the end of Man of Steel, but she still was like, oh, I know this person who's hiding out and trying to be like a hermit is Superman. Like she figured it out. I
Mhm.
think that is a big plus, and I genuinely like that she never feels in the way when she's like even in Batman versus Superman,
Mhm.
I'm not like, God, get her out of here. Like she's giving important information. Like she's getting things done. She goes back to get the spear or whatever. Like I appreciate that she's not a nuisance, and I don't mean that because I don't like women in movies. It's just women in these movies get written into corners a lot of time, and I
Yeah.
don't think she did that for the first 1.5 movies she was in.
I very
And
much
I
agree with you on that because especially when you bring up the Margot Kidder comparison in Superman 2 where she's like you said trying to kill herself to get him to admit it. It's just like no, this Lois Lane is more self-assured.
mhm.
She's got her own internal validation thing and that's why like and I really do like that part of Man of Steel where she's like, "Hi, I'm Clark Kent." And then she just has that smirk of like, "Oh yeah, you are. Yeah, I,
Yeah,
I know who you are." Like that to me is so good about this, and I agree. It's just like the it's it. Her character has been built up a lot. However, there's so few and small moments in between that actually allow that to shine. And because again, like you said, these comic book movies, like these characters don't do a lot with the women, and they do the most with her. But Snyder's not really concerned with her unless with anyone unless they have superpowers, basically. And that just is rough.
That's why I'm comparing her also to the TV show version that we did,
Yep.
because that TV show obviously gave us the language of being extraordinary people working with extraordinary.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Ordinary people working with extraordinary beings or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, I think she is doing that, but the movie isn't really hanging its hat on that. So you obviously, I still like for the same, like, because I think Superman has the same fall off really. So I still had her at like A, because I'm just like they both have a similar fall off.
So I had her at B, but I'm willing to move her to an A because I don't. I just to me, I'm like, oh, I wish they gave her more to do. That's all. But like everything that we talk about from what Amy Adams put into the character, because that's all her stuff, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to like
I
the
would
writing. Yeah, the writing is all Snyder and Co.
Or
and all
her
that
saying
kind of
I'm
stuff.
not doing a love triangle. Like she
Yep.
did, like obviously that's not in the movie, but you
Mhm.
just know as an actor, she's like, this is what I will do. I'm not doing the nonsensical like love triangle shit.
Yep. Yeah. And to me, I'm like big ups to Amy Adams for that. But as is this the best Lois Lane? No, not
No,
by
but
at all.
she's the best Lois Lane this universe has got.
Yes, sir. That is very, very true.
All right, Perry White, as played by Lawrence Fish. Oh, sorry, I put her at A.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
we'll
I'll move
see
her
how
up to
that
A. I'll move her up to A.
goes. Perry White is played by Lawrence Fishburne.
I think
I
this was
put him here
very
because
good.
yeah, he's really good. I put him
Mhm.
here because I was thinking, there's so few actual heroes, even though I forgot the Black Adam heroes, that might as well put people that make a difference in their movies are out in the field at certain points, or at least with our heroes.
Mhm.
Perry White, as played by Lawrence Fishburne, is out there in the rubble getting people safe. Like, he is active. He's not just yelling in a newsroom.
Yeah. He's not like a J. Jonah Jameson in like Spider-Man 1. He's very much like moving things along. He's doing things, and it's really, really good. Like I like how he doesn't get in Lois Lane's way, but then at the same
he,
time be
genuinely respects her and is pushing her at points like, you're better than this.
Yeah, and the only time he says no, it's just like, okay, I can't publish this because I'm going to look stupid too. Like, this is out of self-preservation. And I'm like, okay, I can respect that. I can really respect that because, Lois Lane with her conviction, it's Perry White's still got to have the reality check. I'm like, I still got to sell papers at the end of the day. I really like Lawrence Fishburne in this role. I think he brings a lot to it. I think it does a lot. I put him personally here at A tier.
I won't fight you. I had him at B, but I'm just like, I can't fault him because he's only used sparingly. Like what he's used in, he does well with.
Yep. The next one I imagine we're gonna have a lot more to talk about, but Batman Bruce Wayne by Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I mean, he worked for a lot of people.
He did.
It did not work for me. But he did work for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think he does a better Batman. I mean, does a better Bruce Wayne than a better Batman.
As I said, I think the best Batman stuff he did. I don't really count the Flash. I understand that people like his sequence in the Flash as Batman. I'm not talking about Bruce Wayne. But I think the best Batman stuff he did was in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. There was I know that movie got ripped away from the director, but it felt like a proper vision of how Batman would work. He got pushed too far and now he's a killer and a weirdo. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know how you're like basing it. I mean, he never even got a solo movie. I think that says a lot too.
It does say a lot, and it's the idea of like, oh, cool. He's got machine guns. He's got Gatling guns on the Batmobile and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, he's lethal. He kills people. I don't like that. Of
Batman '89. There's guns there too, but he is a killer, which goes the wrong way for me. He's a drinker, which goes the wrong way for me. And I understand that you need to have different versions of your Batman, but I think the story that this universe was trying to tell if you listen to what Zack Snyder had in mind, is a story
Mhm.
about how he dies, and I'm just like, oh, like that's not. Why would I want that?
Mhm.
Like, why would I want that out of one of my like Trinity members? Is like we're starting right before he dies.
Yeah, and to me, the issue with this too is like, okay, aside from the very obvious one that we're meeting him at the end, there's so much like Easter egg backstory stuff that Snyder does. Is like, okay, yeah, the Robin in this universe died, which probably meant that there was, and it was a ha 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 kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that's the Jason Todd whatever thing, but
I think he said it was
the,
Dick Grayson. But
Dick
yeah,
Grace, well, that whatever it is,
yeah, like
it's
we
what it
can't.
is.
Yeah,
Whatever. But it's the idea of like, okay, all that is done, all that storytelling is done with one shot, and then he has to recompose himself. Like, I'm fine with an unhinged Batman. Just how are we getting him back to composed Batman? That was never really ever clear.
no, it was. That's what I'm saying. That was the game plan, and which is why, because they weren't allowed to do that, he just comes off as weird to me. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
um, it-
But the
like the
casting,
whole. Like, I know you said it early on, like the whole like breakneck switch of like I don't want to do this to like I'm gonna buy everything and we got to do this Justice League thing.
yeah,
Is like
where'd that come
that's
from? Yeah,
yeah, like I don't, and as I said, I don't like him in Batman vs Superman for the very simple fact of we already know he's wrong. I don't. Why
yes,
would I want to watch someone be wrong for that long?
yeah. Xenophobic Batman. It wasn't fun. It was not fun in Batman versus Superman.
And they get over that in that movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, as I said, there's even if you go by like, I guess you have to just accept Joss Whedon's Justice League is canon. So at least he's a planner there. He's got a plan.
Mhm.
But Zack Snyder one kind of removes that plan. He's kind of just like, oh shit, this didn't go well. Yeah, I think I all I have in my head is what Zack Snyder wanted to do, which is bad, and obviously it doesn't really play out great in
Mhm.
like his last thing is telling Barry like, "Oh yeah, I'll go out with you another day," and then they're just never going to see each other again. So it's just
Yeah.
like that's a bummer too. I don't really, I think his best stuff for me in Batman vs Superman is all his Bruce Wayne stuff with Diana,
Yep.
and his Suicide Squad stuff, and
Yep.
then
Yeah, he.
I don't know. That's pretty much it for me in terms of what I like.
I mean, that's 100% true. I've always maintained that Ben Affleck is a better Bruce Wayne than he is Batman. And that's just because of how they're going to use Batman in this. If they were ever going to use him effectively, then I'm pretty sure it would have been a different kind of consideration that's coming out of my mouth right now. But I have him at B tier just
Yeah.
because of all these different reasons. I would be open to moving him down even more too, but I genuinely think he's a good Bruce Wayne.
I guess he's got the warehouse fight, but
The
again,
warehouse spice is great, but I
even
mean,
in
are
that, he's
we-
like doing lethal things that are weird.
100%. He's
Yeah.
like the moment he grabbed a gun and like in okay, yeah, the thug's finger was on the trigger and he pushed the I'm like that's the same
I
thing.
think yeah, like I understand this is an interpretation, not the interpretation,
Mhm.
but what I like about his no gun rule is like that is such a big trigger for me because that's how his parents died as well. Like his parents
Yeah.
got strangled out. It's like, oh, the gun is what ruined my life. This
it's-
legitimately ruined my life. I'm not into it. I'm not doing that. And even in the Matt Reeves one where he's repurposing the gun as like some kind of armor that's still got some metaphoric poetry to it.
Mhm.
But this is just like, oh, that's just not a factor for him. All he really cares about is he didn't save Martha, and then we get to the thing everyone makes fun of that I still think makes sense, just not
I
properly.
agree. Yeah.
It's not properly executed, but I understand what the point of it was. The point
Yeah.
isn't, hey, you have the same name as my mom.
It's the fact that you're grounded to humanity like me. It's the
And-
fact that he was empathetic in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Martha is, yes, a trigger because that's his mom name. That's the last thing his dad said was save
Yeah.
Martha. But the bigger point is I understand now that you won't turn on us. You have
Yes.
skin in the game here.
Mhm. Yep.
Again, not executed well, but I
Mhm.
understand the point of it.
Yeah, 100%. Like that thing, it poorly executed. I'm fine with people memeing on it. It should have been better executed because it actually makes a lot of sense. But to me, it's just it was just not a Batman I think either one of us were was ever gonna like. Like even though you're just like, okay, Zack Snyder can make all the arguments for why this Batman would kill, sure. But let's not forget that the Joker in this universe is still alive
Yes,
too.
that's
So
the big thing.
biggest
Look,
issue to
none
me,
of his rogues gallery should be still alive. Also, he never
exactly.
has a meaningful interaction with the Joker.
Yeah, that's dumb. So the idea of like, okay, he's willing to kill just thugs, but he's going to incarcerate the head, like the head honcho. Like, what sense does that make? So like, Snyder can justify the killing all he wants. None of it actually makes sense because even in like the flash forward thing of Justice League when they're in time, I'm just like, okay, so Batman and Joker are now working together. And that's just like cool. I like the fact that the Joker has like that thing where it's like, oh yeah, I don't use guns, and this is the Heath Ledger Joker because I like to savor like because he likes to savor those moments. And Batman not having the exact same rule for different reasons, but it's just the idea of yeah, why would you get rid of that? Like the gun thing is huge. Like if you're gonna kill someone, fine, whatever, but like make it off the idea of like, oh, he fell off a bill, like he punched him off a building or something like that. Not he shot someone with another thug's hand. Like that's just terrible to me. And when we're talking about that warehouse fight scene, yeah, it's great. But to me, I'm like, can they be credited with it when it is an Arkham Batman game mechanic?
Yeah, of course you can. Just because it exists somewhere else doesn't mean you can like 100% recreate that feeling. The fact that people feel that way means that they did a good job.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I personally have him at B. Where are you at with him?
I was gonna say C. I can put him at B. I don't care.
I'm much happier moving him down, to be perfectly honest, because it is such a good character that means so much to both of us that I'm just like, yeah, we're not here being like, yeah, it's all about Bruce Wayne. We're here about like it's all about Batman, and for him to be a good Bruce Wayne but not a good Batman to me deserves a little bit lower. But I was definitely being generous with B.
All right. Well,
let's move it to C. Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. It's really hard to discuss this as I'm not a fan of her, but I think her first movie is great. The thing is, she's not even bad in her second movie. It's just a terrible movie.
Yes, 100%.
And I don't mean the acting. I mean at this one, I'm thinking about the character. Like the character isn't inherently dumb or bad. It's just in a terrible movie in service to terrible things.
Exactly.
But I mean, this is more to do with contracts. She's also the most consistently popping up character. So it's hard for me to put her at lower than A because I love her first movie, and I feel like whatever acting ability she does have is properly harnessed in her first two appearances. I think her in Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman is a great deployment of Gal Gadot, the actor.
Yes.
And then the fact that her second movie is bad, I can't really put on. Like, she's not great in that second movie. Obviously, they're trying to expand more on it. But it's not a huge drop off in terms of the character, not the story being told. And then she's got small cameos that you're like, all right, sure, I guess so.
And they're genuinely exciting whenever she shows up too. It's really, really exciting. It's just like, yeah, that would be the point in time where you'd show up in this kind of situation. This is great. I'm glad you're on board. I echo everything you said. Gal Gadot as a person, I have to leave that in a different kind of thing because obviously if that was a factor in here, I'd be like, that's going to factor into a lot of like.
If this was a factor, Ben Affleck would be way higher up if we're talking about these actors as people.
Yes, 100%. But Gal Gadot, leaving that away, just focusing on the casting and the vibe, I have her really high. Every time I see her, I'm a big fan of what we get. Wonder Woman 1 was a fantastic, fantastic movie. Wonder Woman 2, like you said, is just like, this is. We really need to figure out what everyone's thinking about consent here, because that to me was like the biggest issue with that movie. It's just not good. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's not that women can't have everything. I'm like, you can't have things that violate other people's consent if that's what you wanted. That's just fundamentally terrible. So in this, I actually have her a lot pretty high. Generously high. I have her at S tier.
I have her at A because she's still not like it's limited. Like that's what I was trying to word it properly, but it's like she's not gonna have the range of even an Amy Adams, if I'm being honest with you. But she can do her thing.
Yeah,
and she does it well. It's well done, but in every movie she's in, you're able to see the cracks in her armor. Like it's not like not visible, and she does have that second movie. I like it does factor in for me that like we're encompassing the arc of the character, and beyond the movie being bad, it's the arc of she could do all of this, but she still needs Steve Trevor, even though like that's like a objectively small part of her life.
Yes.
But like she needs that, and she's not gonna be happy till she gets it back, even like almost a century later.
I mean,
I think that she's a stronger character than that, and I think that
I do agree.
I think that I'm not saying I'm saying that she's A because of that. Like I think that would make me put her at A.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll put her at A as well. 100%. This one, the next one, is Arthur Curry, Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa. I have him at C tier.
I have him at B, but here's why. He completely shifted how people think about Aquaman in terms of even how they want to portray him in other media, like in other versions of this.
Sure.
And yeah, I think that's mostly it. I don't love the character, as we've talked about, but it's like he got to come in and make it his own thing.
Yeah,
and people just went with it.
Yeah, 100%. It was to me. I'm not trying to be an Aquaman purist, because I'm not trying to be like, oh, he should be like this, because he would be like Thor in that sense, where he's like, oh, overly serious and all that kind of stuff in those roles, right? I don't want that, but the idea of Jason Momoa doing something different than just being himself on camera, it to me, it's just like, it is Jason Momoa in an Aquaman suit. That's what we're watching. And to me, that is not good casting. That is just, yeah, you brought something different here, but this is not fundamentally different than the other stuff that you've done, unless you're in a period piece like in The Woods or something like that. You can't be like that, or Game of Thrones, obviously. But this is a situation where I'm like, you're just getting Jason Momoa to do Jason Momoa things in an Aquaman suit. Whatever.
I guess
not
so,
great to me.
I mean, sure, but I think the only other successful role he's had is Khal Drogo, which is completely different than
100%.
this. So even in that sense, do I fault him because he got to do one role as himself, and I don't know what himself is really? At least it's showing range in his two biggest roles. True. I do think that's important, that like he's showing a decidedly different thing in this. And again, I know he's done a bunch of stuff. I'm just saying, in his, let's say he only has two modes, at least they're distinct. Like if
that's true.
If he's got Khal Drogo or whatever he's doing in that Apple TV show C, then maybe they're similar. And then he's got this goofy guy, and you believe him as both. I'm not like I think what's important to me here is that he can sell both. It's not like he struggles to go between the two of them. You're gonna believe him both ways.
Yeah, I get that, but yeah, you're right. I believe it both ways. I still feel how I feel, because to me, Jason Momoa is very clearly Lobo, and like that would have been an S tier level casting. I would have been so happy with that. But in this, it's just like the vibe was clearly like, all right, we know Aquaman gets memed on quite a bit. Let's actually cast someone that people would be interested in, and I think they did a good job there. Does it make for a good casting?
Yes.
To me, no.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately,
I would say yes, because not only did it work in terms of people's reception, he's the only $1 billion movie like franchise here, and that's based off of him. Not like no one was like, yes, finally the Aquaman movie. That's what I mean, is that like he was able to bring, even if you're just dinging him with he's just playing himself, he brought people to see his stuff. Yes. And people liked it. We didn't like it, but people liked it.
Yeah, it was a business decision. It was a good business decision. From an artistic standpoint, I was like, yeah, that could have been casted a little bit better. I see what they did. It worked. It was successful commercially, critically, to me.
Yeah, and remember, I'm not saying he's S tier or A tier. I'm saying he's B tier, because ultimately he has a ceiling, but he was able to successfully take over that space, and in multiple ways. He changed the overall discourse, and financially he was able to get it done.
Yeah, I'll move him up. I'll move him up because you're making some great arguments. And to me, the only argument I have is I'm like, I just don't like it. I like him. Don't
Yeah, I
like
mean this is
just
the
like
tier list of it all, right? Like
yeah.
I don't like the character. The character to me isn't Aquaman, but we're taking in a bunch of other. Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
taking in a bunch of other factors as well.
One thing I will also add to this too is they found a way to make the Aquaman suit not as stupid as it does look in the comics. So like to me, I'm like, that's a huge win. So I will happily move him to B tier for that alone because I'm just like, oh yikes, they're gonna put him in the original Aquaman outfit. What's that gonna look like?
It worked.
It worked. It actually just worked because I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're just going off his muscles and his tattoos. Great. And then they put him in the suit. I was like, all right, this works. This does work. So B tier it is.
Uh, Flash Barry Allen is played by Ezra Miller.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I know. I think
Again, removing
yeah,
the
we have to
actor.
remove the actor from the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. I actually
Overall.
liked kind of what they were doing with him in Justice League, like both versions, because of like how he is and all this, how weird he is and how much of a loner. I liked that angle, and then it just like it got to the Flash, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't work that well. They did clever things, but it doesn't. It needed the help of Michael Keaton in that movie to bring it up to me.
For you, yeah.
For me.
I think it's a bit of having your cake and eating it too for them, right? Because obviously they had time to hear people complain about how annoying he is, and then they created a story element where they can actively comment on that, so he can still be annoying, but have his other self be like, "Wow, you're really annoying. I don't like it." And so there is commentary on they can have the self awareness while still being like, "We're still gonna do the annoying shit though."
Yeah.
I And when I say him, I mean the character. I know that Ezra
Not the
does not
actor.
go.
Yes.
Yeah, Ezra Miller doesn't go with those
Yes.
pronouns.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess. See, I don't know. I don't like the character. I obviously don't like the actor, and I find it somewhat inconsistent.
Well, I think it's heavily inconsistent. I really do.
Yeah.
And to me, here's the other thing I'll add: the suit he got in that Barry got in his own movie sucked compared to the first suit. I liked the first suit. The fact that he put that together.
Oh, I know. Yeah, right. I
The one
remember.
we
That's
pieced
the
together.
one with looks like pads.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is another character. I'm like, I mean, some of their best superheroing happened in Suicide Squad. Like when he shows up to stop Captain Boomerang, I was like, oh, sick. And then, and then you're like, oh, the next movie he's in, he's like, oh, I don't know how to do anything, and I'm like, but you did. You have done things before.
Yeah, it's so weird.
What? I mean, you've never fought monsters, I assume. But then in the movie, they're like, no, he did because he went to Metropolis to save things. I'm like, so what's going on here? What is happening?
It's
I mean, he
very
didn't fight monsters, but he was very clearly present and ready to do something.
Yeah, and save like it didn't show him saving people.
I
so
think
like
he
to
failed.
me,
I don't know, but
okay.
the thing is, I wouldn't associate that with I've never done anything. It's
Right.
more like I'm not the best at this. I need tips.
Well, I could see him being hyperbolic in that regard and being like, "Oh, I've never done anything to like."
Yes.
You know,
No, don't get
whatever.
me wrong. I understand that in life, what he said, you wouldn't be able to go to court and be like, "See, he's a liar." What I'm saying is, when you're telling stories, that beat only works if you truly believe that he is net new to this idea and never
Right.
done anything. If you're showing me that before we saw this movie, he was a very capable crime stopper, and then in his own movie, years after that blunder of telling us, "Oh, I never done anything before," you still show me that he was confident enough to go try and stop Superman and Zod from like tearing down the thing. And again, that might just be optimism, but still that's not the same person that's going, well, I don't know what to do. I've never done anything like this.
Yeah, because that's the thing I do like about Barry Allen as a character is that internal optimism does
Mhm.
find a way to do something. Like I really do like optimistic characters, and Barry Allen is one of the best ones. And the way that Barry Allen isn't able to execute that in this
Because I feel like
sucks to me.
they're trying to do Wally West with
Yes,
this, and I'm not saying
100%.
that. I'm not saying that because I know for a fact Wally West is less optimistic. I just grew up with Wally West on the Justice League show, so it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's got jokes. He is a bit pessimistic sometimes, but
Mhm.
um,
But
yeah, I was just like, oh, why not just call him Wally West then?
the biggest thing to me is like the biggest difference between Barry and Wally West is that insecurity. Like Wally West's insecurity is way bigger than like Barry's. Barry's is like, no, it's insecurity plus optimism, which overcomes a lot of different things. Wally West is just like, I'm insecure, I'm gonna do this, but you can clearly see how it's a defense mechanism that he's making those jokes and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's just I agree with that. He's a better Wally West than he is a better Barry Allen. And that's why to me, I'm like, I had him a lot higher than I thought I would. I actually had him at B tier, but I am happily okay moving Ezra Miller's Flash down to C.
I don't know. When you said B, I'm like, I guess he could be B. I don't know.
He could
We'll
be
put him at.
B,
Hmm?
but like it's because it was a character that started strong, and then the more that you learned about it, the more inconsistent it became, and the worse it got. So to me, I'm like that decline was pretty damn fast.
Yeah. All right. We'll put him at C for now.
Yeah. This is a character, this next one, Cyborg, Victor Stone, played by Ray Fisher, that I
In one
wanted
movie.
more of. I wanted
Yeah.
so much more of because I did think the casting was good. I
I
thought the
think
look
he
was awesome.
sold. I know people were like, I didn't get anything out of him in the Joss Whedon.
Mhm.
I thought he had more poignant moments in the Joss Whedon Justice League, which is canon. But I
Yes.
understand that people were like, no, it's better in the Zack Snyder one, which I always point out. Like, he's got more activity, but you don't learn anything new that I didn't already get from the Joss Whedon one.
Mhm.
And you've got, I still push back against his whole fuck the world thing, where I'm like, that is coming off the tail of you literally showing me that he cares about the world and he knows who he cares about.
Yeah, because
Like, and it's not his family. He just cares about people who are less fortunate than him and wants them
yeah.
to do better. So I like, yeah, I don't think that was a better representation of Cyborg, and it actually is a weird one to be like he changed things so people got money, but fuck the world. It's like, no, obviously that's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's not the same thing. That's just like that's just heavily inconsistent. Where I like Cyborg better in the Zack Snyder cut, largely because I'm like, okay, where we're being told Cyborg is and what his dad does and all that kind of stuff, like how isolated he is and where he's at in regards to his character's trajectory, makes sense for him to be that doom
Oh, I
conclusion.
think the Zack Snyder one is a better thing for his dad for sure. His
Oh
family
yeah,
in general. It's
yeah,
better, it's
100%.
better for the family dynamics for sure. Yes,
Oh,
I
very,
would
very
agree
much
with that.
so. So like but to me, like Ray Fisher as Cyborg, 100% was so good. I was looking forward to it, and obviously because of the comments he made and how that pissed off his people, the people that were signing his checks, it was just they were never gonna give him another shot, and that really sucks to me. But like the look actually was incredible. I really liked the way Cyborg looked in this. I'm like, this is cool. This is really cool. Did he get to do a lot of Cyborg things that people are familiar with from Teen Titans and all that kind of stuff? No, no. Which sucks. But I do still like this casting. It's just again what the movie gave us and what
Like,
he could do with it
I
is a
think I
different
was fine
story,
without
right?
the Teen Titan stuff because they were very clearly doing that new 52 run where he was just
Yes.
always Justice League,
Mhm.
and I don't think he did a lot of booyahing there. So
No, he
that
didn't.
part was fine with me. I mean, I have him at B because like he didn't wow me, but also I was like, at least the actor part of this is selling
Yeah.
everything.
I had him generously at A tier.
Sure,
Because
I'll
I
put
just
him there.
wanted more. And this is the thing. If we only got
The one movie.
the
Well, he's in
the
2 movies, but we got one movie where he's got actual dialogue.
correct. If we actually got the Barry Allen treatment to Cyborg, then I'd be like, this is going to be different, right? In the sense where it's like, oh, he has got multiple movies, but the fact that Cyborg was very effectively used where he was at, it peaked there, and he didn't get a chance to continue it more. That's why I had the A, because I'm like, I just wanted more. Didn't get it, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Alfred is played by Jeremy Irons. I mean, he's a good Alfred. I don't know.
He's a very good Alfred.
I think he's a really solid Alfred.
Yeah.
He's had fun. I like him in the Zack Snyder version of Justice League a lot too.
Yep.
I think he's got because he's got little fun stuff with all the different characters.
Yeah.
I'm mostly remembering Wonder Woman, but I'm sure he's got stuff with other people. He's got stuff with Cyborg in that, doesn't he? Like where he's like kind of talking to him, and he's like, "Wait, who is this in my ear?"
Yeah, because originally it's Cyborg that reaches out to him, like on the computer thing, and he's like, "Wait, who?"
Yeah, I like him. He's solid.
Yep,
I would put him at A.
I definitely have him at A. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Next
on the list is Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman.
I'll tell you right now, I would just put him at B. I don't really care for him, but
I have him at C. I
mean, I think the Suicide Squad elevates him to B for me. Suicide Squad, I'm just like meh. And if we're taking into account their overall arc, I cared when he died. Like that's not a C level character to me. Like I was legitimately like, oh shit, they took out Rick Flag.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He's not higher than a B to me, but I think that like they. And maybe it's just because I remember him from the first movie, but he's a character that didn't suffer too much from the shift. It was just like, yeah, I guess this could be the same guy to me, but I just cared about him more in B or in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I'll move him up to B because you know how I don't like Boy Scout characters. He is the definition of a Boy Scout character.
Yeah, and he got taken out for it, which I appreciate that he was like,
exactly.
No, we got to do the right thing. It's like. That's not how life works.
Exactly. So I do care more about this character than yeah. So I'm with you. I'll move him up to B tier. I undervalued him.
Sure. Katana, as played by is it Karen
Fukuhara? Yeah, Fukuhara. Oh god,
it's hard because I like her in The Boys, but that's obviously not the same character at all.
Yeah,
I don't even really know what they were trying to accomplish with this character.
This was just rough to me in the sense where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So you're Rick Flag's bodyguard is what this effectively is.
Which didn't really seem to play into anything.
No, it didn't. Like she didn't save him at all. She didn't.
She stepped in at one point. He's like, oh, stand down. But like, in general, he's not a character I think needs a bodyguard. I think agree. On paper, it makes sense to be like, okay, let's get him a superpowered person because he's going to be around some superpowered people. Or is he?
I don't even think that makes sense because then the whole Amanda Waller like explosive in the neck thing is like the bodyguardness that basically they need, right? Sure. So to me, like
I don't know what their point is. Then
the point I personally feel is like, hey, this is a cool visually looking character. Let's throw her in there. Yeah. I genuinely think that's what it was.
I feel like they took out a lot of her like backstory. They tell
100%.
You the sword has the souls of the which I don't feel like factors into anything.
There's no factor whatsoever. There's no power that comes with that. Right? Yeah, it was just like I think it was her husband's sword or something like that, or
do they show that in the movie, or is that a deleted scene? I don't remember.
I don't remember. It might be a deleted scene.
It's not a good sign for a character on this tier list if we don't remember some key factors.
Because the thing is, it's like, okay, yeah, she like before the big battle, she just talks to the sword and like, okay, yeah, if we didn't know, if Rick Flag didn't tell us, like, oh, all this kind of stuff, then we wouldn't have known that. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's not like it turns it into a Super Saiyan sword or anything like that. With like, it does nothing. It's just like, okay, her sword steals the souls of the people that it kills. Great.
I put her at D.
Okay, yeah. I'll go down there. I'll go down there because I had her
wanted her at C.
I had her at C.
I feel bad putting
her there, but very generous with my rankings, I feel.
We'll
so
leave her at
having
D
her
for now.
D tier is definitely more accurate. Next
Chris
on the
Pine,
list
Steve
is
Trevor.
Steve Trevor.
So I mean, obviously, same kind of issue as Wonder Woman, which is he's great at what he does, but he's like a one main sticking point of the second movie doesn't work.
Yep. which is not his fault.
That's not his fault. But I
Not
mean,
his fault.
I think I would put him at A just because I'm like I really like
I
him in the first movie.
Yeah, I have him at A. I'll have him at A because the reason why I think it was really I had him at A was largely because obviously he's not going to outshadow a Wonder Woman in her own
No.
movie, right? But the idea of like, oh, he's a fully developed character. He's doing his own thing. He's not doing any of the traditional misogynistic things that a male character would do
He
here.
does, but he gets called out for it. Like he does
Yes.
trying to be like, "Hey, no, we're doing this now." It's like you're actively trying to keep me out of this. Fuck you.
Yeah, and that's just more, and I see the progression of his character. I see all those kind of things. He does his own thing. He flies the plane. He does the Captain America thing. I really like his character. He does a lot in a movie where he's obviously not the title character. I actually have him at A. I think he's a really, really good, well-casted character here.
And Taya P, played by Robin Wright. I love this character.
I have
tell you right now. I have her at A because
I have her S.
Sure.
I
will put her there.
want more of her character. That's the only reason why it's not like, but objectively, everything I get about her, S tier.
Wonder Woman's aunt is amazing.
Yeah.
I was so, I mean, the only saving grace is I'm like, well, it's not like Wonder Woman can go back anytime. But when she died, I was like, no, I want more. But I'm like, whatever, she can't go back. It's fine.
Yes, very, very much so.
Queen Hippolyta, Connie Nielsen. I would put her at A. I still like her too.
I have her at A.
I think you were right to say that Antiope is more interesting and more long lasting, but I really like Wonder Woman's mom.
I agree. Hippolyta is definitely an A tier character for me. Definitely.
Okay. Does that put us at Lana?
No, Mara first. Mara first.
You know, like as I said in the second movie, like she's clearly supposed to be bigger than she is.
Yeah.
Like they put her in a movie where it was like, a lot of this could have been solved if Mara was there. She is just as effective as Aquaman. So just having them together would make sense.
And every single time they get saved out of a situation, it is Mara. So
in the first movie too, she's the one that saves him.
Yeah, I'm like, clearly she belongs here. She's the one that's like initiating a lot of the contacts. She's like, hey, Dad, you're wrong for this. And like, I'm like,
and she's
okay.
Like, that's one of my favorite parts of the first Aquaman when she's like, oh, you're not stupid enough to believe this. You just want this to happen. I'm like,
yes,
that's good that she was like, no, I actually know you, and I know you don't actually believe this. You're playing dumb on purpose.
Yeah, this is the politics game so that you can, do whatever, but get your way and all that kind of stuff. It's a very effective character. It really, removing everything that I feel towards Amber Heard, which is a lot. Mara, very effective character. Like when she eats the rose, I'm like, this is great stuff. It's really good stuff. Like I like it a lot. I have her. Oh God, I have her at A.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, yeah,
she's good.
Now we're at Atlanta. Nicole Kidman.
I put her at B. She's solid, but I feel like even in the second movie, like, all right, she has to be here too. And that doesn't mean like she's annoying in it or anything. It's just more like she has such a strong beginning in the first movie, like that first fight scene. You're like, oh, sick, way to go. And then you get to the second movie, and I wasn't even really missing her. It was like she showed up. I'm like, oh right, yeah, I guess you're in this movie too.
The thing I don't like about the second movie is like, wait, why aren't you back with what's this, like your great love and all that kind of stuff?
You did say that. I would still argue like I did there. Like, there's nothing telling me they didn't do anything together. The movie just didn't show it. Like, there's nothing being like, and now they're not together. It's just they probably meet up every week or something like that instead of, as you said, just living together.
Yeah, that's fine. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. She's like, yeah, my partner and I have different houses. We never intend to move together. And I think that's what's going to be a successful marriage. And I'm like,
I have an aunt that didn't live with her husband.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I think there's a lot of truth behind that because a lot of shit does start falling apart when you live together. It's like, oh, yikes, that's how you load the dishwasher?
It's hard.
Petty shit, but like, stuff like that. But either way, getting back to this, you're probably right. They probably did have date night like every Thursday or something like that. They just chose not to show it. But herself, Nicole Kidman as Atlanta,
Great.
B.
Yeah, it's
B.
solid. Nothing special, but it's solid.
It's not
Uh,
offensive. It's whatever. It's just like cool, a big name for a role. That great, whatever.
So for this, I just put the heroes and their kids equivalents together. I know I didn't do
Yes.
them as individuals, but Shazam, Billy Batson. So that's Batson, which is Zachary Levi and Asher Angel.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna put them together on the thing too. So as a team, I think this might be the least successful team of
Yeah.
of the adult kid pairings. Everyone
agree.
talks about it.
Mhm.
Just again, the first movie, it makes sense. I think that is the right way to go about it. That
Yep.
you've got the kid that had to grow up too soon, and then
Mhm.
when he gets the powers, his power fantasy manifests itself as the carefree teenager he should have been.
Yep.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people don't get that.
Yeah.
Then you get to the second movie, and it's like, yeah, you guys are just playing different characters.
Yeah, they're playing
And
completely different
and
characters.
I'm saying I think Asher Angel needs to go closer to what Zachary Levi's doing.
Absolutely, that is what I felt that the progression should be. Like I think in the first movie, just that would have been really well, really high listed for me. Just because Asher Angel gets a lot to do in that,
Mhm.
right? And then Zachary Levi, he's fun as Shazam. He's actually
Yeah.
really fun as Shazam. Like
If
whatever
it was
I think
just
about the
him,
actor
I would
himself.
put him at A. But like as a
Yep.
team, I'm like, oh, they weigh each other down.
They do, and in the second one, it's very clear because they're just like, look at how much screen time Asher Angel actually gets. It's like next to none. It's just like, yeah, we know okay, let's spend more time with Zachary Levi here. And I'm like,
Yeah,
sure,
I think
whatever.
Yeah, I think he needs, and I'm not. I still think there should be a distinction that the superhero version does feel more liked than the real life kid.
100%.
But they're too far apart in the second movie.
Yeah, they're. I agree with that.
So
where you have them
in
at?
that, I have them at B because I was like, they didn't really progress properly.
Yeah, okay. If it was just Zachary Levi at Shazam that we were rating at, I'd have him a lot higher. I'd have him at A, but B is exactly where I have him at. The next on the list is Freddie Freeman, Jack Dylan Glazer, / Adam Brody. I think this is an S tier casting.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously Jack Dylan Glazer's doing the heavy lifting here.
Yes, but Adam Brody.
I still think Adam Brody is the right manifestation of that once he gets to hero form.
Yeah, absolutely. He is great. Like I really genuinely believe that Jack Dylan Glazer, like and Adam, like that's a good team. They're very on the same page. They're very consistent and all that kind of stuff. And Freddie is, like you said, he's being carried by Jack. Jack is such a good character, good actor to play this character. But Adam Brody, like that, just does take it to the next level. I think this is S tier for sure. The team of them.
All right, Mary Bromfield, played by Grace Caroline Curry and Michelle Borth. So in the second movie, it's just Grace.
It's just
Caroline
the one,
Curry,
yeah.
I think, because Michelle Borth is no good.
Yeah, she's no good.
This is not an actor thing. This is like I think her politics are no good.
Correct. Same thing with Zachary Levi too. And
yeah, I mean, yes.
DC.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's very consistent amongst the DC actors.
Weird choices. It seems like the men can stick around. But anyway,
but I'm glad they got rid of that in the second movie because I'm just like, yeah, she's old enough to be.
I didn't even realize it was two different people. The first movie, I was like, oh, it's two people. Okay.
It felt really weird. I'm just like it was one of those after the fact things that I'm like, wait, why was it two separate people in the first? But then in the second, they corrected it.
I'll say this: I didn't really care. Not that I didn't like her, but I didn't care about her in the first movie. The second movie, because of how they positioned it, I was way more on board with Mary. I thought she was way more interesting. I'd still put her at B, but like I was like, yeah, okay, this got better as time went on.
Yes, she became more integral to the whole thing. I 100% agree. B is exactly where I'd like to put her. Darla Dudley, though, very different feelings about that.
Faith Herman and Megan Good.
Yep.
I think she's just solid in both of them.
Yeah.
Like I really like the Faith Herman part. Obviously, for some of these, the adult version doesn't factor in as much until the second movie. But I think they are solid in both. There's no drop off, and I think both of them have moments in both movies.
Yeah, 100%. Megan Good doing like the child stuff here. It works really well because I'm like, yeah, I 100% see Darla's character being like, no, I'm just genuine. I'm who I am. I'm not going to change anything about my personality, even glowed up or whatever. And that works. They connect
Yeah,
both of
in
them really,
terms
really
of the
well.
acting together, this is the first. No, I shouldn't say that. I think this is more inward looking in terms of these actors trying to figure out how to thread the needle with this performance.
Yes.
I still like Freddie better, but because they obviously put more effort into that character.
Correct.
I can do about it. But Darla, both actresses seem to actually be working together, or at least one of them is, to be like, oh, this is how I'm going to play this.
Yeah, and it's not like the next character like Eugene Choi where it's like, okay, it makes sense for them to be that different, from a kid form to the adult form. It makes sense. The Darla thing is like on same wavelength.
She's too young for
Great
me
stuff.
to believe like, oh, and then she would be different. Like, it's like, yeah. This is it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I have her at A.
Yep. Same. Next one, Eugene Choi, played by Ian Chen and Ross Butler. This is a casting choice to me that was it was okay. It was just the idea of I don't think they were invested too much in developing Eugene's character.
Well, they don't. And spoiler, they don't care about Eugene or Pedro as much as they care about the other characters.
Yeah.
That does. I mean, having said that, I still think that Ian Chen and Ross Butler stand out.
Yes, they do well.
When I mean stand out, I mean they have moments you remember, and like they pop, both of them.
Yes.
So still comes off better than Pedro, but I would say that, like, yeah, these are the two family members that we have on the list that clearly aren't cared about as much as the others.
Yeah. And did they write it in as a justifiable reason into the actual thing itself? Yeah, sure. One's a video game nerd, one's closeted, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they would take the back seat and they wouldn't want to get under that much attention. Sure, that makes sense. But in the second movie, where everyone's getting a little bit more of an opportunity to shine, it's just like that. It does suck that they don't also get that opportunity to shine. For especially
I don't even remember what we'll stick with Eugene for now, but like,
yeah,
at least you have the moment in the second one of like, oh, there's dragons, I'm in, like, and like the idea that he's actively looking through the different doors and the mazes, like he's contributing. Again, it doesn't mean that he's on screen, but his character is active throughout. Like,
yes.
You are aware of what he's up to and what he's trying to do, and like playing video games to like think of strategies to fight together. Like it all works in that way. I think it's solid. But yes, as you said, they don't really focus on highlighting those characters. They just pop in to fill up time. But I'd still put them at B. Yeah,
I agree with you. Pedro Pena is the next character, played by Jovan Armand and DJ Cortrona,
I think that's it. I mean, I feel like this is all just the Jovan Armand side of things. I couldn't tell you like what DJ Controna is doing. I don't remember him as I just know that the visual gag is Pedro's chubby when he's not a superhero, and
right.
That seems to be it in terms of me knowing what DJ Controna is doing. It doesn't seem connected at all. So to me, I focus more on the kid, and
the kid's
like
got
he has more to do. He's more to do in the first movie.
I completely agree.
Because he's the one that finds out, right? Like he sees the burnt book and everything. Like he's like, oh shit, yeah, this kid's looking for his mom. Yeah, he's got more to do in the first movie, but I also don't really remember the second one that well.
Well, I mean, he gets to come out in the second movie, which is really, really.
I
thought
he didn't come out in the first one. Okay, fair.
I'm pretty sure it's the second one. I'm pretty sure it's the second one. I think that was really, really great to have those screen moments for both of those.
He's played by the kid, so yeah. Again, it's me being like, I remember the kid
version. Oh yeah. The kid version is way more effective than what DJ's doing. But at that point, it's just
and
like
it's not his fault. They clearly are just like, see visually, that's funny to you, isn't it? And that's all we care about. Yeah,
which is to me, I'm like, let's stop making weight jokes. Like, it's just not great for people at all. Like,
no,
it's shitty to do that. It's low hanging fruit, and it's not even good fruit. It's just bad. Just stop making body shaming jokes, Hollywood. Just stop doing it.
I'll give you that. I'll give the movie credit in the sense that it's not an explicit joke. I think it's just left there rhetorically for you to be like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
The
no one like, and that's I do like that.
because
It's
they
like
love
nobody's
him.
bullying
It's his
him.
family. It's his family. So
Yeah,
no one's like, oh, what
nobody's
happened?
making jokes.
Yeah.
No one's like bullying him or anything like that. But it's just us, the audience, that's like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, ha ha. He's a chubby kid and he's not as a superhero. That's great and all that kind of stuff.
So
Like,
yeah, having said all that, I would put him at C.
yeah.
Or mm, is he
Yeah, I
D or
agree.
is he C? No, he's
I think he's C.
because I feel like the kid brings it up.
Yes, yes. If it was just DJ, and I'm like, oh yikes, that is a definitely D character. But because Joven Armand does so much in that, I'm like, yeah, no, he's definitely a little bit higher.
All right.
Black Canary,
That's played
is
by
next.
Johnny Smollett.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like this movie, so it's hard for me to be like that's. I would put her at B. She's clearly
Yeah.
not meant to be the lead here. We're never gonna see her again. I know they were working on a movie for her, but things have changed, which is unfortunate. She was gonna get another movie, so that's not. I mean, at least they knew they had something there with her, but I don't think James Gunn's plans include bringing back Journey Smollett as Black Canary.
No, I don't believe that's the
Unfortunately.
case. I had her at C tier just because I'm just like, I get what the movie was trying to do with it, but to just move away from the powers that much to me was just like a
Well,
weird.
she says the powers.
She does, but they really de-emphasize it. Is what I mean. It's just like, oh, that,
I don't.
or
That's
maybe I'm not remembering
I
it
don't think you're
correctly.
remembering it probably.
Probably.
Because she can't even sing without breaking things, and then
Oh,
she
right,
uses
right,
it
right.
properly, like she earns using it properly.
Right.
It is a factor throughout.
Yeah, I'm definitely okay. I gotta up that up to B then, because
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely on
think
me
she's
and my
B.
shitty memory. Okay, yep, B. Huntress, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's another B, only because they have the ceiling of like we're never gonna see them again. They
Yeah,
weren't actually the leads of the movie they were
Mhm.
in, but I thought she had a lot of funny moments, like trying to like work on her banter in the mirror and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I it wasn't samey. Like I was just like, okay, like Black Canary has the confident thing going for her, and then
Right.
Huntress has the I didn't grow up with anyone, so I really
I
don't know.
yeah, I'm socially weird.
Yeah.
And I like that. I really like that because for her to be like entering in like I'm suave, I'm this. I'm like the backstory is that you were trained to be an assassin and isolated as a kid. Why would
Mhm.
you be socially savvy? So the fact that they introduced that in a really fun way, I was just like, this is actually really good. It's really good. But the ceiling is, yeah, we're never gonna see it again.
Yeah.
We're just
It's
never gonna see it
unfortunate.
again. It's very unfortunate, but yeah, that does lead to what
Cassandra
do we agree to
Cain.
be?
Yeah, I put her at B. Cassandra Cain, Ella J. Bosco, who is Rufio's cousin in real life. I like that. I think that's cool.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I mean, that is supposed to be Batgirl. Obviously, the movie's not pretending like that's Batgirl, but this is Batgirl.
Right.
And I thought they were going somewhere with this because her character famously doesn't speak, and she swallows the diamond at one point. I'm like, oh, that's how they're gonna make it. And like, nope, that's just a thing that happens. She swallows the diamond. I was really like, oh shit, that's so clever. No, we're not doing it. Okay.
I don't like this just because I'm like, okay, they
Oh,
They
I don't like
played
the
up-
character. I was just saying the potential.
no,
See,
I'm saying that too. Because to me, I'm like, okay, they're playing off the Asian stereotype of like we're not very vocal, we're very like submissive, all that kind of stuff. To me, I'm like, that's not great. I don't like that at all. Like if she's not talking, then yeah, give her a reason to not talk. Just don't be like, oh, because she's Asian. I'm like, that
Oh, no.
sucks.
that's not how it works in the comics at all.
No,
It's a very involved thing.
no, I get that. Not in the comics. I'm talking about what we saw on screen. Is just like it seemed like they were just playing that trope up a little bit more of like the
She
Asian
talks throughout
stereotype
the whole
of her.
thing.
Exactly. But it's
Oh,
just like
what's the Asian stereotype?
the idea of like, oh, okay, what we're sold of like, oh, she doesn't talk is like, oh, yeah, that's we're making that jump, kind of like the fat joke jump of like.
I don't know if you
penis
remember
thing.
the movie properly. At no point does she not talk.
I know. I'm definitely not remembering it
Yeah, you're
properly,
not
but
remembering
to
the
me,
movie.
like,
I'm
why
saying,
cast her
as
in that?
someone who knew what the character was, I thought that's where they were going.
Mm,
And instead, they're doing what I think you would appreciate, which is bucking that stereotype. And like, no, she's the most talkative one of them all.
yeah, you're right. I definitely am not remembering this movie very, very well. I'm gonna defer judgment on this.
Yeah, I mean, she's whatever. I have her at C. I don't really. I wouldn't mind if they just forgot she existed, but also
Yeah, because this is
she's
not a
fine.
character that I believe would turn into Batgirl at the same
Yeah,
time.
well, that's the other thing is she's Cassandra Cain in name only,
Yeah, yeah, stuff.
which is fine. But like,
Mhm.
it's just like, all right, then she's just a whatever character.
Yeah,
Um,
Renee Montoya, played by
Rosie
Rosie
Perez,
Perez.
and I loved Montoya in the animated series.
Yep.
I like Rosie Perez.
Hmm.
Still put her at C. I don't
Yeah.
remember her doing much in this, and she was kind of, as like you grew up and fall out of love with cops. It's just kind of like she's just a cop, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, and the
Like
fact
she's
that
not
she's a
boring or
corrupt
anything.
cop is just like on like Black Skull's kind of payroll. To me, I'm like, it further cements how I feel about cops. But like Rosie Perez in this role, she was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I just
Okay, I
clearly
think
I'm
it's
not.
Ali Wong who's the person on his payroll, not
Oh, is it
Renee
Ali
Montoya.
Wong?
I, I'm pretty
Wasn't
sure it
I
was.
thought the whole cop thing was under the player, so she was legit?
I think she's legit because
Mm,
she's like part of fighting at the end.
I clearly don't remember this movie very, very well.
That much is clear.
Yeah,
But
that's very, very clear. I'm gonna defer judgment onto this to you.
all right. Well, that's well, I. Oh, sorry, I put her at C.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Um.
Blue
Okay. No, we're
Beetle.
not. We're not doing that yet. We're gonna do the
Okay.
Black Adam characters.
Oh, on the cuff. All right.
Yes.
Let's
Aldous
do
Hodge is Hawkman. Carter Hall. I don't know. B. I. He see like.
it.
I
Yeah.
think he's interesting enough. Like he definitely was one of the. It sounds so dismissive, but what I'm saying is for a character that people don't love like that, because even if you grew up with the cartoons, it was Hawk Girl.
Yep.
Hawkman wasn't really part of it, so it was this opportunity, I would say,
Mhm.
of like for casual people. Obviously, people who read comics know who Carter Hall is, but for casual people, it was this opportunity to like cement. And I was like, yeah, I would watch more movies with him in them. Maybe
Yep.
not a Hawkman movie, but if they brought him back, that would be cool. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's not happening, but like, I would watch more of him. I just, they and I think, as we talked about when we talked about Black Adam, the movie had this idea that was interesting, which was like,
Mhm.
Americans kind of just want their kind of justice and not real justice. So
Yep.
what are they doing here? And that doesn't fully, as I think in the movie, I know he's talking about Adam Smasher, but in general, the movie plays with the same thing of him constantly saying, "We're gonna have a conversation later," and I'm like, "Yeah, have it, please. Have this." You keep hinting at it. Please have this conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, I would put him at B because I thought he was interesting in this movie, and I would watch more of him.
Yeah. I agree. If you're like if you were to tell me that there's just a society movie, I'm like, oh great, I'm gearing up for this. If you're telling me it's just Hawkman, I'm like,
I
I
mean,
don't think that was the
I would
character
just
that I
still
would want a
assume there would be
solo
more.
movie. Yeah, I would want like another character within this
Yeah,
movie that we're going to talk about in a little bit to have their own solo movie, but it wouldn't be him. I think a B tier casting, B tier rating for him is very, very accurate.
All right. Well, let's talk about them. Pierce Brosnan is Doctor Fate. Kent Nelson.
Yeah, same wavelength, baby.
He's good. I don't know.
He's
Like I guess I would
great.
put A.
I I have him at A. I do not
I
have him
think
in
it sucks that
S.
he dies.
That's why I'm like, oh, we're again meeting characters at the end of their journey. This
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks. But I do think he's great. I think his visuals are incredible. And Pierce Brosnan is so good in
Yeah,
this
like you always
character.
think, oh, he wouldn't do one of these, and then he does it, and you're like, pretty good.
He killed it.
Pretty
He
good.
killed it. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. I
Mm,
have him at A.
yeah. A.
Yeah,
Noah Centineo, Adam Smasher,
Adam
Al
Smasher.
Rothstein.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just found him annoying. I don't know.
I did
Uh,
too.
I kind of wanted to put him at C. I don't
Yeah.
really like. I understand he's the fun new kid point of view thing, but I don't think you need it in this movie because we
You
already
don't
have a
need it.
kid
Yeah.
thing, and I don't feel like his. As I said, they don't fully ever deal with him fumbling all the time. Like he just fumbles all the time and just gets told, "We're going to talk about this later." I'm like, we never do.
Yeah.
So
it's weird because it's like we're gonna talk about this. What's this talk gonna be? We know this is his first mission. It's just like maybe the talk should be like, hey, I needed to do better with your training because you didn't have any, and I expected you to do all the right things. It's frustrating, and this is why I'm like
Yes.
Hawkman kind of sucks here because it's like you have all these expectations that you're not clearly communicating to people, and there's no training program, and you're really, really coming down hard on this guy.
All right.
Mm,
I agree.
don't love it.
Quintessa Swindle as Cyclone.
Hmm. Fun visually,
Yeah, this is
but
another C. They did not care
yeah,
about this character beyond
they
the
didn't
visuals.
care. They were just like, "Oh, cool, she's gonna look cool doing this stuff." They did a good job with that.
Yes,
Didn't care about developing the character beyond like, "Oh, we'll give the new guy someone to talk to, and it'll be her."
that's it for
That's
the
it.
heroes, right? I don't remember this movie. I was just going off of IMDb and be like, yeah, that makes sense. This makes sense.
Yeah. Only really it does depend on who define as a hero. Obviously, we're not putting Dwayne Johnson in this.
No, he was already on the last one.
Yeah.
I guess we should just do this here. Jaimon Hansu as the wizard. He doesn't appear anywhere else, but he's the
That's
Shazam
true.
wizard that bridges the gap between Shazam and Black Adam.
Yeah,
I really like him in the second movie. I have to say, he's pretty fun.
He's fun in the second movie.
I feel like he got better in the second movie, just way more.
Oh, 100%. For a character that we were like, didn't he die? And
I definitely thought he was dead. I do like that the movie addresses it when he's like, "That would have been better if I died." I'm like, okay, so I wasn't wrong. He did like they wanted us to think he was dead.
Yeah, it was just okay. We, as an audience, were stupid because we thought that meant death, and they're like, "No, death in this world means something else." I'm like, "Great, moving the goalposts, got it." I like him. I like him a lot. B is good to me. I like him in the second one. I just love that final scene where he's like, he gets to actually wear the outfit he wants, and I'm like, it looks so good.
That last scene, you're like, yeah, this is clinching it for him. This was great.
It's so good. I'm like, that's a sick outfit. Like, that's great. You peacock, buddy. You do your thing. It's great.
Okay, now we could get to Blue Beetle. Jaime Reyes is played by Xolo Maridueña. He obviously worked way better for you than me.
Yeah, I know you know that. I kept it at A tier though. I did not move him to S. I do think it's an A tier character. The character design, the look, the vibe, the energy he brought to it, it really clicked for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have him at B. I think that he's good enough. I don't like, it's like, I really do feel like it's just like, yeah, that's good enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't feel invited into him. I've definitely felt invited into his family, and I liked his family members a lot. And again, this has nothing to do with the actor. I think the actor is doing the best he can with what they're doing.
Yeah, because like there's just things that in that movie that are like, this is cool visually, but it makes no sense because you never established the fact that this is a character is like this Jaime Reyes is an anime fan or whatever. So
I guess I was wrong about that. I've seen the visual of him legitimately in his room with the posters in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's something that we have to make that jump towards, I guess.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Well, in our episode, I actively said they don't even go into his room to show him, and I'm like, and then I watched a video where like, this is him going into his room with this stuff. I'm like, all right, they did it. It just didn't stick with me. I was wrong.
That's fair. It just definitely wasn't as big of a factor as what I see most anime lovers.
Yeah, I would
because
when people didn't, it was just a thing. Like, and sorry, and that's not me backtracking. I was 100% wrong. They did do the bare minimum I was asking them to
do. But what I'm saying is, like, most people that love anime try to find any excuse they can to talk about anime. And that was not clear in this. It was just like, oh, cool, I'm a casual anime fan. I'm like, I don't think that exists. I do not think that there's a casual anime fan. I think
that was my thing. It was like,
that love anime.
All I know about him is he loves his family, and that's all I can say. I know everything else is like, I guess this is coming up because it'll factor in later.
Yeah, and that he wanted to be rich, like that. Cool. Like,
but I mean, and I would say even that is tied to I need to be rich to help my family get out of this situation.
Yeah, there's a justifiable reason behind that.
So I'm beyond that. I didn't feel like anything for the character, and that has nothing to do with the actor. I think the actor did a great job. It's just the movie didn't feel like it focused enough on him as a character. Like even when we listened to the episode we did, the disparity between our views made me feel like, yeah, because it was left so open to interpretation that it didn't feel solidified.
That's why I loved it so much, because it was so open to interpretation that I saw so much of my own personal story in that character, which was great. It was great, but if you don't resonate with those themes that they put in there, then it's gonna hit a lot lower for you for sure. I completely get that. A lot of what I love about him is probably a lot of projection on my part. But he's got some great stuff going on there. I really, really like that movie. For his stuff, and I'm not saying it's objectively a good movie. I'm just saying, like, no, I had fun with this movie. And I do believe that he's supposed to be like in James Gunn's DCEU too, but it's definitely a movie that allows itself to be in James Gunn's DCEU because of the idea of it's not
he's
attached to anything else.
They said he's
sure.
coming back. We'll see if he does.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. That's awesome.
So you want him at A?
I have him at A.
I'll put him there, but in my head he's B.
That's fair. I get that. I knew that this would be the one that I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to finesse you a little bit on this discussion.
All right, we did it. We got through all of them. We didn't have any F level this time,
we didn't, which is good. I don't like putting people in F level. I don't.
If it happens, it happens. But at D level we do have Katana.
Mm-hmm.
At C level we have Batman, Flash, Pedro from the Shazam family, Cassandra Cain, Renee Montoya, Atom Smasher, Cyclone. Then we've got at B tier, we've got Aquaman, Rick Flag, Atlanta, Shazam, Mary from the Shazam family, Eugene from the Shazam family, Black Canary, Huntress, Hawkman, and the Jaimon Hansu Wizard. And at A tier, we've got Superman, Lois, Loian, Perry White, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Alfred, Steve Trevor, Queen Hippolyta, Mara, Darla from the Shazam family, Dr. Fate, and Blue Beetle. And then at S tier, we've got Antiope and Freddie Freeman.
That's right.
We did it. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. We're part of the That Shelf Podcast Network with other great shows like Bad Gay Movies, Contra Zoom Pod, Springfield Googleplex, and more. So go to thatshelf.com. You'll find those shows, our show, and more shows. If you want to hear older episodes of our show, go to tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten, or subscribe, rate, review, share, follow, do all that great stuff on any podcast platform of your choosing. That's right. You won't be able to listen to episodes unless you do everything I just said. And you can get in touch with us at TDF Spoiled on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Our email is spoiledpodcast@gmail.com. So please let us know what your tier list would have looked like and how you think we got it wrong.
Yep.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.